Okay, so what we will do here is we'll allow each of the coaches seated on the stage now to introduce themselves, make a brief opening statement, and in succession order, beginning with Coach Lehman-Winters from Oregon, and then we'll open the floor to questions. And as with the athlete panels, we'll again ask you to stand, introduce yourself by name and outlet.
Helen Lehman-Winters, University of Oregon. Happy to be here in Madison, Wisconsin.
Joe Franklin, University of New Mexico. Never thought in my wildest dreams I'd be in Madison 3 times in 8 weeks.
Michael Smith, Northern Arizona University. Thanks for having us.
At Eyestone, Brigham Young University. It's great to be back.
For Coach Smith, Kevin from FloTrack. So 4 times since the year 2000, the team's gone back-to-back. 1 time it's worked where they get the three-peat, the other 3 times it didn't. Other than 3 just being a higher number than 2, what is it that makes it so difficult to go from 2 to 3, where from 1 to 2 seems doable?
Yeah, it's a good question. A year ago, a coaching colleague of mine sent me this great article, and it references something called the disease of more, and it was a phrase coined by Pat Riley in basketball. And what they were discussing was when the qualities that allow a team to get to the top, or whatever it is, sometimes those things become farther and farther away once you have success, and that's why defending and creating the circumstances that allow someone to win a championship are harder the second, third, fourth times around. So it was a really powerful statement. It couldn't apply more to our scenario. We really try to keep the fundamentals that allowed us to arrive at this place in 2016. We really try to keep those fundamentals central to our process all the way through. And yeah, 2, 3, 4, whatever those numbers are, those aren't things we necessarily talk about, but the things we do talk about are keeping those fundamentals that had us arrive in this place central to what we do.
Question for Helen. Is there one runner in particular you feel on your team that needs to run well? I mean, obviously everyone to win needs to have a pretty good day, but is there one person in particular you think is sort of key for you guys?
Actually, a couple of people have asked me that already. Actually, no, I don't think so, because I think our entire team is pretty interchangeable. So I anticipate that they'll all run well tomorrow.
Don Capreva, Track and Field News. Ed and Mike, you guys know each other so well, run against each other so well. I suspect you could each coach the other guy's team. So each of you kind of evaluate. Mike, you evaluate BYU. What do you expect from them tomorrow? And Ed, you evaluate NAU. And what do you expect from them?
Well, I think we'll stay with our own teams first and foremost. But I think we both have deep respect for each other's programs and realize that they have a ton of talent. In terms of if I was coaching his people tomorrow, I'd tell them to go out really slow. Let BYU build an insurmountable lead and then go from there. But actually, one of the things, Don, we've tried to do this year, which I think we got a little away from last year, is we were a little bit too worried about his people and what they were going to do. And so this year we've just tried to focus on ourselves, and I think it's made the process getting here a little bit less intimidating. We know they have an outstanding program. We know that they're the favorites, but we're really not focusing so much on what their people need to do. We just want to control the controllable, I think, is an important concept in coaching. And so we're just trying to focus on what our people can do. And our best chance for success is if our guys individually run their best races and then let the chips fly where they may. And hopefully that gets us a little bit closer than we've been in the past.
Yeah, I would say we express a lot of gratitude for the BYU team and the way they've pushed us and challenged us. I was really proud of Matt Baxter's comments following the 2017 championship, where he said to BYU guys how much they kept the bar high for us all season long, and I couldn't have said it better. And I think that our guys are training every day knowing they're going to be pushed and challenged. A piece of the BYU team that I really admire is the way they find each other and run together. You can see that they sense each other and run for each other. I think that's the best part about cross country, and I think they do that well.
Dave Hunter, Track and Field News. You all bring teams here that are highly talented and well prepared. There's an old sort of shop-worn maxim about you need to let great athletes become relaxed so that they can let their talent come out. So here you are with these collegiate student athletes, tough weather conditions. What do you do between now and the start of the race late tomorrow morning so that your athletes are relaxed and their talent can come out? Let's start with Helen, if we could.
I mean, honestly, just approach the championships like any other race. I'm a big believer in just doing the same thing that got you where you are and not trying to change things and do things differently. So, I mean, today when we were pre-meeting at the course, it was pre-meeting for any other race. So I think just for us, it's just like keep it simple and don't do anything special.
We try to keep it fun, enjoy life, enjoy every day. Don't take it too seriously. We have some devastation on the West Coast. That's real life. This is a cross-country race. 20 minutes of the best experience of your life and 30 minutes of the best experience of your life. Let's enjoy it because it's fun and just have a great time. Laugh and smile and see what happens.
Yeah, we try to do a lot of teaching all year long about what environment is going to be the most conducive for them to access their best selves, and the key is for them to be able to identify that and sense it in the group, sense the energy in the group, and know when it's off and correct it themselves and not need a coach to do that. So I think the mistake often is that we think of that when we arrive at a championship, we notice the energy is off, and I think we do a really good job of talking about that all year long, so they're ready way before we get here.
Yeah, and I think for us this year, it's just been lay low, finish high. You know, that's what we wanted to do, is just take it a little bit more low-key approach, not get wound up, not believe our own press clippings. You know, the races that we've done best, we just go out, we have some fun. We try to live in the moment and race in the moment and not make, not over-plan things, because when we just race intuitively, these guys have lots of experiences, a lot of good experiences, and so you just get out, you have a basic race plan, but then the gun goes off, and you know, when that first cannon shot is fired, then all plan sometimes go to the wind, so you just race intuitively, and they have enough experience usually to get through pretty good.
Thank you.
This question's for Joe. I've heard the mantra from you and some of your athletes repeated about just go run with your friends. Can you explain the origin of that and obviously its application in such a high pressure race?
Well, it's not necessarily a high pressure race. That's you saying it's going to be a high pressure race. This is a race. We're going to go out. They train with people that are good quality women every day. So let's just do what you do. That's what we're all going to do, is just try to get out there, do what you do, and experience and enjoy the day. So that impetus probably started in 2014-ish. You know, and then with the 15 group, it was so cohesive, and they just had a lot of fun. And then that's literally find turquoise and run with your friends. That's how it started.
This is for Tyler from the Coaches Association. This is for Joe and Michael. When people talk about dynasties, they talk about how continuity. All these professional sports teams have had a lot of guys come back, a lot of women come back and play each year in, year out. How important is continuity to what you guys have done with your programs? Starting with you guys in 15, you guys in 16, but also not only that, but also to deliver the same message as a coach, to have that kind of mentality, to go out and have that kind of creation that you guys have done.
Yeah, I think of all the elements that I'd want athletes walking into this day with, and the piece that is so hard to replicate in training is just experience at this meet. And so successful experience at the NCAA cross-country championships, I think, that being passed down and internally inside the group for people to talk about that in the right way, for people to be off and to correct it and to have the time in their 4 or 5 years to do that afforded at this meet in particular. I think that's huge, and you can't put any. That's priceless to me. Yeah, and then when I think our younger athletes have seen what works and again make that kind of internal correction, that's huge for a group.
You always have one group graduating, one group coming in, so continuity is how we train and how we approach things and how we have fun in enjoying life. So the continuity, there's always somebody that emerges as a leader, but remember, there's always a class going out and always a class coming in, so it always is ever changing. So it's up to coaches and mentors and kids on the team to just try to keep that environment going and try to make sure it's low pressure.
Question here it's a two-part question. Start with Joe. I heard that one of your athletes brought a waffle maker on this trip. I'm curious who it was, why, and then to everyone else, what is the most interesting thing one of your athletes brought on this trip to Madison?
One of our athletes did bring a waffle maker. We had to make sure that it could get through security. That was Charlotte, so she could make her own waffles.
What's wrong with hotel waffles?
Well, she can make her own. She likes making waffles. That's one of the things she likes doing. So she's brought a waffle maker on every trip, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And the rest of you guys, any interesting odd items that the team brought?
Rory brought a stethoscope, and he's doing blood pressure tests on everybody on the team. Not to make sure that they're low key, but just because he has a class and he has to do 100 of them. So he actually took it out of the course today and was, who did he take? Carney's blood pressure? It was a little high. I told him he better stop salting, putting sodium on everything. So.
Ed, in the pre-dance here, of course, Rory ended up winning, and he told me afterwards it was like a helter-skelter of arms and legs and 10 across, 10 abreast nearly. But Connor Mance ran an unbelievable race. Almost we thought he was going to be a wire-to-wire winner, and Rory lauded him afterwards, said what a grinder he is. Do you like a kid like that who's such a grinder? And what would you tell Connor now running his first national?
Yeah, no, Mance has one gear, and it's high right from the get-go. Anyone who's seen him perform. No, I think if I try to change that about him, that takes away, his passion and what he's capable of doing. So I think the nice thing about having a freshman up front doing that is the upperclassmen look at that and go, wait a second, Mancy Pants is up there, we better get up there too. So it's actually been a really nice thing for the team. And so yeah, I mean, I think as Mance goes, then goes the rest of the team, and I'm sure he'll be out there. I don't know that he'll have a 30-meter lead at any point in this thing, but I would hope to see him in the group of 10 or 15 up front.
This question is for Helen. I'm David Monti from Race Results Weekly. Could you talk a little bit about your transition from San Francisco to Oregon, which from the outside looking in looks incredibly seamless? Here you are up on the dais again with the top team. What was it like to bring that team together around a new coach and face a new season this year?
Yeah, it actually has been a pretty smooth ride. In terms of our team, I mean, we've been together for 10 weeks. I realized it was 10 weeks tomorrow, so a pretty short time, but what has occurred in that 10 weeks has been pretty phenomenal. It's a wonderful group of women, and Jess Hull has been an incredible leader for that team, and they all just really want to be good, and they really want to represent the University of Oregon and be successful together. So it's actually been pretty easy from a coaching standpoint. We haven't really had any challenges internally. The chemistry's been incredible, and obviously the staff at the University of Oregon has been amazing. So yeah, it's been a pretty smooth ride, and looking forward to continuing it tomorrow.
This question's for Ed. Looking at your roster, it seems like it would be an insanely difficult task to settle on a 7 to run this race. Can you give us any insight? Just was that process that difficult, and what sort of things do you look at, do you factor in to settle on that final roster?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sitting up here, so obviously it's not rocket science, okay? It's that if you have good talent and you work together, the cream generally rises, and I think, I'm sure the other coaches sitting up here kind of go through that same experience over the course of a season, whether it's just be a couple of major tests for you or, 3 or 4 races, and then you factor in workouts, you get a good sense of who's on and who's trending up and who's trending down. So, and then you factor in maybe 1 or 2 little injuries, then a lot of times the decisions are made for you. And so yeah, the good news is at BYU right now we have a tremendous depth. So there are people that can step up, but at the end of the day, I don't know that it was a really difficult decision for us in determining who would be our top 7 for this race.
This is a question mainly for Joe and Mike. Obviously, both coming off of 2 national titles, back to back, you in the past 3 years. The 3 different rosters, do you think this roster is better than the previous 2, the second best, the worst between the 3? How would you compare this roster compared to your previous 2 title-winning rosters?
They're different. So every team's different. Every team has its strengths. Every team has its weaknesses or challenges. This roster is as good as anything we've had. It's a lot of women that are highly driven. And to compare one that's better than the other, that's unfair to those teams because they're all very different and they all have very unique qualities that make them so special. So this team is unique. Next year's team will be unique, and they all are very different and all equally as good.
The 2017 team would have beat the 2016 team, and the 2018 team would beat the 2017 team. But only one part of that is physical. I think this group we have now is made a big jump in just calm and concentration, and that goes a long way in this.
In fact, I've been informed that we need to wrap here by 3 o'clock to allow these coaches time to make it to the coaches meeting. So we'll close with one final opportunity for each of our 4 coaches to make closing remarks and any additional insights they can provide to the final preparation or instruction that they're giving to their team as they prepare for tomorrow morning. And Coach Eyestone, if you wouldn't mind going first.
Yeah, I mean, I think my parting thoughts to my team is just going to be, let's get out there and do what we've been doing all year long. We don't need to change anything up. Let's keep it relaxed and enjoy the opportunity. What a great opportunity it is when you're running up against the 30 best teams in the country. There's a tendency sometimes to get tight in the bigger races, but ultimately performers enjoy a big stage, and so this is the biggest stage that they can have at the NCAA level, so let's get out there and shine.
I think a piece that I know maybe would surprise me 10 years ago or would surprise some people on the outside is how much we talk about detaching from an outcome. And I know everyone gathers here to see who wins the race, what team wins, what individuals win, but we talk to them a lot about detaching from any kind of outcome, and that frees us up to perform in our process. So those are our final pieces. That's what we spend a lot of the last days and hours on, detaching from an outcome.
Ours is pretty simple. It'll be fine turquoise. Or maybe we'll wear white just to blend in with the snow.
There's a lot of really good women's teams in the field. There's a lot of parity, I think, at the top. But our focus will be on just being really gritty and hungry in the last 2K of the race.
Thank you all for being here today. Thank you to each of these 4 coaches, and good luck to you all tomorrow morning.